How's it going, everyone? I'm Jared and this is Avalanche Reviews. Now, this is my first episode, so I thought we'd start off with a game that didn't get the praise that I thought it deserved. This is my review of Silent Hill 3. In Silent Hill 3, you are Heather Mason, daughter of Harry Mason, main character of the first game. While on a routine trip to the mall, Heather is confronted by Douglas, a private investigator who's been paid to find her. Heather, clearly suffering from a case of 3 days into her period, tells Douglas where to stick it and easily eludes him.
Are you still following me? Do I have to scream?
Sorry. I'll wait here.
This is when things start to get good and creepy. As you find out, the entire mall is crawling with grotesque creatures. After some demon stabbing and puzzle solving, Heather is confronted by Claudia Wolf, who believes that Heather is the reincarnated vessel to give birth to her religion's god, and that is already developing inside her.
The rebirth of paradise, despoiled by mankind.
Claudia and the others in her cult believe that when God is born, he will take away all human suffering and pain, leaving all people to live in paradise. Heather wants nothing to do with it and decides to go home to her father, Harry.
So what?
Upon arrival, it seems Claudia had the same idea. Harry had been killed. This scene really got to me, maybe because Harry was such an identifiable character in the first game. Heather confronts Claudia on the roof and finds in order for God to be born, he has to be nurtured by hatred and malice, not unlike the birthing process of most white supremacists. This is where the game really begins. Heather vows to follow Claudia to Silent Hill and kill her.
When I find her, I'll kill her myself.
In Silent Hill 3, more questions are asked than answers are given. And in typical Silent Hill fashion, you're not really sure what's going on till the end of the game.
I don't know what kind of hell is waiting for me there, but I've got no other choice.
To put it into perspective, imagine you're putting a puzzle together, but you don't have all the pieces. And every once in a while, you find a piece, but it's to a completely different puzzle. Don't let that deter you though. Where Silent Hill shines brightest is its pacing. For every piece of the plot that's given away, 2 more are kept secret, making sure you always want more, sometimes putting you in suspense for a climax that may not even come.
I can put an end to this.
Silent Hill 3 fell in our laps towards the end of the lifespan of the PlayStation 2, and definitely benefited from it. The in-game graphics were some of the best ever seen on the console. Silent Hill 3's textures are sharp, characters are crisp, and environments look very detailed and convincing, especially in the other world where chain link and moving skin replaces the walls and floor. In Silent Hill 3, you can rarely see too far in front of you, either from the game's thick fog, dark surroundings, or the pits around you that seem to have no bottom. This makes you imagine what could be in the dark, making for some really disturbing moments. Some of the more gruesome imagery in the game takes place just out of sight, or out of the corner of the player's eye. For example, whenever you shift into the other world, you'll see in the distance a creature turning a wheel and shaking his head violently. This creature is named Val Teal. He poses no threat to you and can't even be interacted with, but for some reason it's very disturbing seeing him. Maybe because he's always watching you. Another point of interest is the immense detail to facial expressions during dialogue scenes.
I apologize. Please.
This is something the series has always been known for, and I find it to be at its best in 3.
Not with her.
Remember me, and your true self as well.
This, coupled with Silent Hill 3's amazing voice acting, makes for a very believable emotional experience. Silent Hill 3 uses tank controls, which take a little getting used to, but if you played other survival horror games, you'll be right at home. The series has always gotten a lot of flack for its characters' less than stellar handling. And while Silent Hill 3 had improved upon its predecessor's shortcomings, it won't be winning any awards for game control. But this is the only case where poor controls can still contribute to the overall experience of the game in a positive way. In a theme common to survival horror games, Silent Hill relies heavily on ammo and healing item conservation, and in doing so sees you running away from enemies more often than not. So in a situation where you're now afraid to confront the monsters roaming Silent Hill's fog-filled streets and poorly lit hallways, you're left with a sense of fear since a graceful getaway isn't so easily made. This adds to the mental aspect of Silent Hill's special brand of horror, and excuses poor controls for the sake of a truly scary experience. You can't discuss a Silent Hill game and not mention this man, Akira Yamaoka, the man who composed the music for the series and produced Silent Hill 3. He believed the best way to add to the dark atmosphere of the game was to give the player a similarly haunting soundtrack. Akira Yamaoka, like Nobuo Uematsu of Final Fantasy fame, is a master of matching the feel of the environments in the game with his music. Songs are often made up of low tones and eerie off-key melodies. While walking around Silent Hill's streets, you may go long periods without any music at all, just the sound of the series staple, your radio. This, coupled with the sounds of the monsters around you, even though you're rarely able to see them, give you the feel that an attack could come from anywhere. During cutscenes and dialogue, though, the music takes a turn for the more peaceful, while retaining that dark tone that keeps you from being too at ease. Silent Hill's music is every bit as disturbing as the game, consisting of industrial sounds like metal clanking and religious-sounding chants and choruses, making it, in my opinion, the best soundtrack in the series. There you have it, Silent Hill 3, an amazing game with a terrifying atmosphere and incredibly dark story. If you get into horror titles, you owe it to yourself to pick this one up. And that's all I have for now, but there will be more to come, so please make sure to comment and subscribe. And until then, I'm Jared, and this has been Avalanche Reviews.